Is that a trick question? This man was a bona fide scrub. Bona fide scrub.
This dude, I believe he's a bona fide superstar right now.
Right. Oh, well, of course, it's all about winning, baby.
Yeah.
So, again, this season's the draft just gone. They pick up Josh Primo with the 12th pick. Everyone's like, who's that? And
Who is it?
yeah, but if they didn't have, instead of having pick 12, if they had pick 5, then all of a sudden they get a Jalen Suggs, or they get a Josh Giddey, or they get a Jonathan Kuminga, or maybe Scotty Barnes falls, something in that top 7 kind of thing, rather than speculating on a guy at pick 12 who no one's really heard about and no one else had projected in their top 20. So, if I'm the Spurs, just try and suck. And the problem is, that's not in Gregg Popovich's DNA. He's in his 70s. He's not about trying to lose games of basketball or not doing his best to win necessarily. Like, he's going out there to win games of basketball. And it's actually like Pop being the best coach in the NBA across this century by streets, by an absolute mile. What they're doing right now is not helping the future of the team. It's just flat out what it is. Like, for how good you've been, you're not actually helping the direction of the team right now, because you're trying to win games when, like, I'm never for tanking, but there are situations and teams that flat out should not try and win games of basketball. Like, it's just a thing. Like, it's in their best interest. Like, I know it sucks and we don't want to have it, but it's just what it is. We've got to call it how it is.
Well, the only reason I'm laughing is because I'm a Heat fan, so I've followed the Spurs for the better part of a decade, and the battles that we had in the early part. So to see them not make great moves, find diamonds in the rough is just weird for me, and I almost have to laugh about it. And Popovich, as you know, even at the start, he was losing games at the early part of the Olympics, and I wonder if it's a whole cultural reset is the plan. Like, actually getting rid of one of the greatest coaches in sports, full stop, is actually in their best interest, because he's, as you said, he's in his 70s. I don't know whether a rebuild is part of him. He's used to winning all the time. Do you think a full cultural reset and getting rid of him, bringing a new coach, tanking, trying a new style, because obviously what's happening isn't working?
Yeah, it's a tough one because they're not going to get rid of him. He's like, he means so much to that franchise. They're not going to sack him. He's going to have to put his hand up at some point and just be like, I'm retiring. Could you ever see Gregg Popovich coaching someone else? Because he's still coaching right now, which to me means he loves it. Like, he loves it, and that's great. He loves coaching and basketball and coaching an NBA team, and he's obviously been the most successful at it over the past 25, 30 years, one of the most successful of all time. I just wonder if he himself should look at this team and think, we're not going anywhere. And actually just be like, I don't know if you, like, put your hand up and say, yeah, okay, I'm going to leave. And then if you want to coach again, actually, like, promote yourself to other teams and say, hey, I'm available. I just don't know why it couldn't. Like, I've just seen Alistair Clarkson at Hawthorn, who's the best AFL coach of this century. And he's actually been pushed out the door by Hawthorn, which to me makes absolutely no sense. But he's having a year off, and he's a lot younger than Gregg Popovich. He's like 20 years younger, so there's a bit of difference there. But Gregg Popovich Alistair Clarkson, I think, is going to coach another AFL team at some point. And it's going to look a bit weird because he's only ever coached Hawthorn, and he did it for, from 2006 or 2005 to 2020, like 15, 16 years kind of thing. But I just don't know if, like, Gregg Popovich just sees this situation and thinks, I'm not getting anything out of this playing group. Well, like, why don't I just try and go to a team who the only thing might be that they need a good coach, and it could just click for them, and they could be a championship contender. Like,
so same at the Wolves, I reckon. It was like a team that actually needs
someone
a lot
better
of
than
leadership.
that. Someone better than that.
Better than that. What?
I'm just trying to think of a team around the mark. I don't know. Keep talking and I'll think about it. I don't know.
Someone, I reckon Popovich is honestly retiring, because I actually read. I'm trying to see whether there's actually a Heat rumor page, but Eric Spoelstra might be taking over as the USA head coach for the whole future of, like, World Championship games and Olympics. So I wonder whether it's just Pop. I mean, Pop's been at the helm for 20 plus years. He's had a fantastic run. I wonder, just for the betterment of, he would love the Spurs, and if it's better for the Spurs that he moves on, like if you're that sort of person, then maybe it's time. But I won't have huge expectations. Where did you have the Spurs finishing, actually?
13th.
13th,
Yeah.
oh, exactly the same.
13th
Exactly.
with the Rockets and Thunder behind them.
I had them exactly the same spot.
Over underline of 29.5. Not touching that either. So,
Yeah, no.
have you got any thoughts on the over underline?
No, not going to go anywhere near that.
Because they're going to try and win games again. Whilst Gregg Popovich is there, they're trying to win games of basketball. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just a weird situation, to be honest. And, yeah, I don't know. If I'm a Spurs fan, like, I've had all this success over the last, especially if I'm like 40 years old, and I've actually kind of been alive and been able to live through 5 championships in the last 22, 23 years, whatever it is. I've been through that. We've made the playoffs every year except for the last couple of seasons, for the last 20-plus seasons. Like that massive, 20 seasons of playoff basketball. If I've lived through that, what is the harm in just being like, all right, I'm happy for my team to suck and be one of the worst teams in the league for the next 3 or 4 seasons? If that means that we can get back up to championship contention, then what is like 3 or 4 years when you've just had 20 years of success? I know that you want eternal success. Like, that's cool, but it's just not realistic. So, like, what's the harm in just sucking for a few years?